Welcome to Techiecast Jacks, where the top technology and business experts around discuss the latest trends in high tech. This podcast is hosted by Joe Holbrook, who's an experienced technologist pundit in Jacksonville, Florida.
Hello, fellow techies. This video has been sponsored by the Linux Foundation. If you really want to be challenged and you want to get certified and prove your worth in Kubernetes, then the Certified Kubernetes Administrator exam is for you. What is really nice is that this is an online proctored exam, and also you get to take the exam twice if you don't pass it the first time. It's a totally command line based exam. This will prove to your prospective employers or current employer or customers, whatever your situation is, that you know Kubernetes. This is the exam to take. Please click the link below and help support the channel. With that said, go ahead and click the link and get the best deal available for the Certified Kubernetes Administrator exam.
Hello and welcome to Techiecast Jacks. I'm Joe Holbrook from Tech Commanders, the CLO. I'm here to talk about the CYSA exam. Basically, if you're thinking about a cybersecurity career and want a certification, I'm here to give you some ideas about which way to go, and specifically the CYSA. Now, this is a CompTIA certification, and I get a lot of questions about the CYSA. Is this a good certification to go after? Is it better than ISC? Is it, easier? Is it harder? And so let's talk about some of those areas. The first thing to be aware of is that it is a CompTIA certification, and therefore their certifications are generally a little bit more reasonably priced and less stringent, what I would call qualification requirements, like versus ISC, for example. There's no need to get sponsors. There's no need to, document resume experience or anything like that. So that's the first thing. So this is why I like the cert. For those folks that just want to get something done quickly and not jump through hoops and circles and, whatever you have to do with ISC, I think CompTIA is a really good start. Now, of course, there's pros and cons to everything. So the CompTIA is also cheaper. On the other hand, some companies do, as a baseline, like to see ISC certs instead of CompTIA because they feel that the certifications are basically a little bit higher quality or not open to everyone, so a little bit more specialized. So the CYSA is a certification, and basically the CYSA is what? That's a CompTIA Cybersecurity Analyst certification. And the question is again, is it worth your time to get it? And it just depends on your situation. So if you're new to cybersecurity, then yes. If you're not new to cybersecurity, then maybe. Just my thought. Now, when it comes to the cybersecurity analyst requirements, basically it's really about you having a couple years of experience in information technology. They do want to see you pass Security Plus, for example, and Network Plus. Now, you could take the CYSA without taking those other certifications. There's no requirement to pass Security Plus and Network Plus beforehand. It's just a, good to have, right? So that's a plus. Now, it's not expensive. It's, $350. I think $349 was the cost when I last looked. Then if you compare that to, for example, the ISC, like the CISSP or the pen test, those certs are $600, but the pen test is actually about $1,200. So again, do you need to go that route? You'll need to make that decision. Also, too, this is very important for my friends in the Department of Defense, government contractors, for example. Now, you're probably familiar with the 8570 baseline certifications. This is This is on the list. So part of that directive is that it does recognize the CYSA, and part of that directive is that it does recognize the CYSA, and it's in like 5 categories, so that's a good thing. So basically, if you're going to do an information assurance job or be a service provider, this is a certification that would likely fall into that requirement that you might have to complete. So that could be a good thing. Now, the CYSA doesn't take a whole lot of time to complete. You could probably do this in less than a week of study and then take the exam if you could, remember the basic points. It is a well-known cert, so I'd recommend you take it. Now, I did want to talk about, before we close out here, how does it compare to the pen test? So the pen test is really the competitor to the CYSA. And the pen test, for example, is going to, sort of have some similarities, but competitive differences. So the CYSA is really not the same, but it has some different components. So basically, the way I want to phrase this is that it's a competitor depending on what you're doing. So for example, the CYSA is really sort of like this. It's meant for you to go out as a, basically a practitioner in security to basically understand, what vulnerabilities are there, to be able to go out and understand how to reduce your security posture, your footprint that's open to the public. Now, the pen tester is really meant in a different light. And so the pen tester is going to focus on attacks or red team techniques. So it really is a different skill set in a lot of respects. And some people think it's sort of similar to the CYSA, the pen test versus CYSA. So there are some similarities, and I'll be honest, a lot of the content seems redundant. And I could see why people think it might be the same, but the goal of the exam is actually totally different. Now, when it comes to, for example, the EC Council, the CEH exam, now this is a competitor to that in some respects as well. Now, I won't, again, just be aware that the CEH exams, they're much more expensive. They require documentation. Again, that's another discussion for another day. Now, from a difficulty perspective, I think a lot of the exam is going to rely on some hands-on knowledge, how to use Nmap or how to use Kdenable, understanding some of the tools. So that's really, I think, the big thing that might catch people. And then, looking at a vulnerability and trying to figure out, is it this type or is it that type, right? Looking at patterns, for example. But as far as the difficulty level, I believe most folks, if they study for a week or two seriously, they'll be able to pass the exam. Now, from a salary perspective, you're probably looking at most major cities, probably about 80 to 100K. But again, I don't like to talk about salaries in that sense of expectations because you just never know what area you're in, what the demand is, what type of expertise you have, how well you sell yourself. But generally, that's about the range you'll see on LinkedIn or Glassdoor as well. Now, there is basically a 3-year cycle. You do need to keep your certifications maintained. It's $50 a year. What's nice about the CompTIA certs, if you have multiple certs, you just select one that you want to keep renewing, you pay the fee on, and all the others are maintained along with it. With that said, I wanted to reach out to everybody again and just let you know what I think of the CYSA. And I think it's a great cert for those beginning in IT. for those that are in IT that might want to get into IT security more, or for those folks that are in the Department of Defense that need that baseline cert to check off so that they could go to work, right? And that's really, I think, where it fits in. I think it is good to add to your resume, but the reality is I think, too, a lot of companies look at ISC or, for example, the other organizations like the CEH, for example. They sort of look at those certs as a higher level, and sometimes those are really the requirements for experienced people. All right, so with that said, over and out, I wish everybody much success and much good fortunes in your future careers. And please do visit techcommanders.com